Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the very first lecture of the appreciation course on population and sustainable development. I hope I'm audible and visible to everybody.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's great. I'll just share my presentation and please let me know whether it is visible or not, so that we can. Um, yeah, can you see the presentation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so today's class is the introductory class wherein we'll be talking about the population. I don't know about the background of you, how many of you are aware or working in the field of population and the related issues. So it is very important, first of all, to understand the basics of population and the related concepts. The term is very simple. We use population and population growth, explosion of the population, and so many issues. In our induction lecture, also, Dr. Rambhuj elaborated a lot about the population. But in today's session, we will be talking about some new terms and several concepts, the basic concepts related to population, because unless and until you know the meaning exact of these terms, you won't be able to understand the other topics which will be dealing in due course of time. So these are some common terms. What is population growth? Very simple. If I ask you what is the meaning of population growth, it is increase in the number of individuals. When there is an increase, but this term is very vague. If you consider what is the density of the population, what is the area where that population is inhabiting, and the increase has been on what time scale, how much of the increase is taking place, and therefore another term which expresses more about this increase in human population in terms of the time scale, that is the population growth rate. We discuss the population growth rate of different countries, the developing countries, the developed countries, and also within a country among different states of India. Also, if you see, the growth rate of the population has been very much varied. We live in a demographically divided country. So, population growth rate means how much of the population percentage wise has increased over a specific time period. And therefore, when we look at the population growth rate of our country, we find that the population increase has not been uniform as it was some say 100 years ago or 200 years ago. And in the future also, it is predicted that the growth rate of the population will be very much different as it was before, and there are several factors which are responsible for it. So we calculate the census 2011, it calculated the population of the country. So there is a decadal growth rate and the annual growth rate, annually yearly calculations of how much of the population increase is taking place, and within 10 years how much of the increase in the population has taken place. That gives the decadal growth rate, and that actually gives you an idea about the comparison of the growth rate among different Asian countries, European countries, and demographers who study the population. They do not study the population over a yearly basis, but the decadal growth rate of the population speaks volumes about the economic growth, about other factors which influence the population at any given place. So you must be able to differentiate between population growth and population growth rate, decadal growth rate, annual growth rate, and how does these calculation help us to figure out that what is going to be the trajectory of the population in a given region. So you must have heard about Malthus, very, very, very common name, which when we study population, we know about Thomas Malthus, and in his essay he described, and he was very much sure that the increase in the population cannot sustain for long, because there will come a time where the resources will be exhausting. The earth, that is the land, and the other resources will not be able to sustain a high growth population. And he believed that there will be a time where the increase in the population will not be possible because we are dependent upon the natural resources, and they do not grow as the population grows. The land does not increase as the population increases. The crops, the food, the water, they do not grow exponentially as the population is growing. But however, he was very much wrong, because we know that we are 8 billion people living on the planet today, and by 2050 it is predicted that it will be around 9 billion people who will be inhabiting the earth. So that clearly indicates that humans have a tendency to exploit the resources of the nature to the maximum possible level. We make changes with the help of engineering, with the help of technology. We do so much, and we gain so much from the earth, and therefore, in spite of the fact that the resources are limited on this planet, the increase in the population is still taking place. So when Malthus made this comment, we were only 1 billion in 1800, but look at the situation today, that we are still growing cross 8 billion mark. And another interesting thing, learners, how fast we were talking about the growth rate of the population. It is very interesting to note that the increase in the population, as I was saying, it is not uniform, because it took hundreds and thousands of years for the entire world to grow to 1 billion. It took a lot of time. But today, if we see how fast we are growing, means we are 8.5 billion in suppose 2030, we will be 9.7 in 2050, and around 10.9 billion in 2100. So the rate of increase is very fast. So in the initial years when we were growing, it took a large time scale to grow from 1 billion to 2 billion to 3 billion. But today, if we see, from 8 to 9 billion, we are just taking 20 years. From 9 to going to 10 billion, it is another taking just 50 years. The time scale is very, very less, and that has an indication about that conveys so much. Are we having lot many people in the reproductive age bracket? Are the uniformly is the population across the world growing, or there are certain places on the planet where the population is in the declining stage? We will discuss about this in more detail when we will be learning about the demographic transition, the models of demographic transition, how do they grow. So this is some another terms, mm, when we read in newspapers, and when we talk about population, we hear any discussions taking place: population size, population density, the distribution of the population, the composition of the population, very common terms. So population size is the number, how many individuals are there at any particular place at any particular time. That is the size of the population. So the population is high, population is low, that is indicative of the population size. But more accurate term and more clear picture about the resources which are available to the population at any given place are determined by population density, which expresses number of individuals which are living on a per square kilometer, per square meter area. So when we look at the population, we have large number of individuals living on a very small area. As you very well know, that we have only 2% of the earth's land, but we inhabited more than 18% of the world population. Just 2% of the land we are having of the world, but having 18% of the population. So what does it mean? That we have a very high density of the population in our country is very high. That indicates that there is a competition for the vital resources, for the land, for minerals, for water. There is a huge competition going on. Then population distribution in a densely populated region also, how the population is distributed, how many individuals are living in the hilly areas, how many are living in the plain areas, how many are there in the around the beaches. So that explains how it is distributed. it may be a uniform distribution, it may be a staggered distribution. So population distribution also allocates the resources. For example, uh, if you look at the whole world picture, you find there are certain places, or if you look at our country, you will find that certain places are heavily populated. The plain regions, which are rich in the fertile soil, which have good water resources, which have good minerals, the plain regions, they are heavily populated. But on the other hand, there are certain regions of the world and of the country as well where the population is not so heavily populated, less number of individuals. In the hilly areas, you find in desert like conditions which are prevailing, where there you have a less number of people living. So how do you demography becomes interesting? How do you distinguish between the size of the population? How do you distinguish that what amount of, and what we're trying to do in the current scenario, what we're trying to do, we are trying to bring about a cosmopolitan way of living, considering the rural as well as the urban areas. If you look at it, we are trying to exploit all the parts of the world, but forgetting that the density of the population is not uniform across. So there are certain places where the resources are being wasted, but on the other hand, there are certain regions in the world where there is lot of competition. So distribution of the population, very interesting. Another important which makes sense for the country like India, that is population composition. What does it comprise of? When we say population is increasing, it's decreasing, it's on the rise, if you know exactly what is the composition of the population, don't you think so it will help you in policy planning? By population composition, I mean how many children, how many adults, how many elderly population. That is also known as the structure of the population. In a given country, if you know that there are more adults, we can say that the population will increase. In a population where we can see that there are more number of elderly people, above 60 population, if it is more, then we can say that the population will decline in the times to come, because the elderly population is more and the number of children population is less. So this is also very interesting. Just for the sake of exercise, you can say just explore countries and see their composition, see their density. This you can consider as a kind of an assignment for you, where you just check it out, and in the next class we will see that how this density of the population varies across the country, how the composition of the population is very very different. What is the median age of the population in our country? It is somewhere near 25-26 years, but there are certain countries where the median age, the average age is 37 years. So we are a young country, we are a youth country, but there are countries which are aging countries, the elderly population is more. So we will discuss all these issues. Similarly, sex ratio, it gives you a picture that how many males and how many females, the implications of skewed sex ratio. When we calculate that per thousand males how many females, then we know exactly that what is the state of the condition of the females in our country. So in the Indian context, if we see, that is the number of males per thousand, the number of females per thousand males we see, and the sex ratio is also different for different these regions, different places, and you will be uh, disappointed to know that in the years to come, the sex ratio has been disturbed. It is going down. That means there are more males and less females. And in this scenario of COVID, the situation has become more of more concern, because the sex ratio has been disturbed greatly because of the situation like pandemic, which has occurred during the last 1.5 years. So when you improve the sex ratio in Kerala, the sex ratio is better as compared to the backward states, and there you can see the state of the condition of the women, the literacy, the you can say workforce participation, the employment ratio, that is also very very different So this also gives you a kind of an idea about the prosperity, the education level, that is the literacy level, human development, all these other parameters of demography, because we are not just concerned about the numbers. Likewise, child sex ratio below 5 years of age, there are millions of children who die before completing their first birthday. There are still thousands who die before completing their fifth birthday. The state of the condition of the children, particularly for a country like India, is very, very pitiable. So, the population scientists also calculate the sex ratio for this age group, like 0 to 6 years, and it is known as the child sex ratio. And if it is low sex ratio for this group indicates that there may be a practice of female feticide or neglect of female babies. And we don't uh, expect a healthy society if this kind of conditions are prevailing in our states. Similarly, we were discussing about the population aging, aging population in India. Also, we are a lot of concern about the elderly population. How many individuals above 60 years of age? So for a country like Japan, for several European countries, this problem is grave, and it is going to come in our country also after 2000. It is predicted that India will start declining its population somewhere around 2050. After that, the population will decline, and there will come a stage where we'll be having lot of elderly people, age-old people. We need to look into that scenario at present. We must see, and there will be more dependence, and this elderly population is going to survive for more because the average life expectancy has increased. So when people will be living above 90 years of age, and we do not have any social security, we don't have any insurance, we do not have any age old schemes, the age of retirement we have put it as 60 or 65, and people living 20 25 years after retiring from their workplaces. So this is the aging population. How they are going to survive, how they are going to meet their basic needs, we must look into it. We must look and form policies, planning strategies for that condition, because as with the other children population, the elderly population and the aging population also has its own concern, has its own problem. So we also, in our coming lectures, we will be talking about all these parameters in detail. Just taking you back to some facts and figures about our population. So it is growing, and you must be knowing that what causes and the growth of the population. And we are expected that at present we are the second most populous country of the world, and by 2027 we'll be crossing it, and we'll be the most populous country of the world. So we have to decide now that whether we think population as a problem or we consider it as a resource. It can be a resource if we train them, if we skill them, if livelihood opportunities are good, if education is provided, if health security is there, if you are able to, and that is all the course is about. When I say that you have taken a right step in this direction by joining this course, because ACPSD course does not look into the fact, and we do not consider population as a problem. And also we are not concerned about just taking target based approach to see that how population declines. That is not the objective. The course takes bottom up approach. We need to address the issues at the grassroots level. And also, population is a human issue. It is it is related to resource. We have to use this resource in a proper manner. So not just talking about the facts, the statistics, the numbers, calculating the percentage wise distribution of x and y places. That is not the objective. The objective of the course is to make the learners aware that population is a resource. You have to provide them good opportunities. Females should be empowered. Children should be taken care of. Every child should be a child by choice, not by chance. So, these are some intricate issues, and they are linked to health, livelihoods, environment, sustainable development, and so on. So, as Dr. Rambut said that day, that there is no one particular SDG on population, but the other SDGs in some way or the other are related, whether it is poverty, hunger, health and well-being, gender equality. In some way or the other, they relate to the population concerns of our country. So these are some. I'll share the PPT with you. You don't worry for this. The PPT will be shared with you. So another important concern, what I would like to point out here is urban population. Not only the population will increase in India, but there will be more number of people who will be living in the urban areas. So it will be around 2030. There will be more than 40% of the people who will be living in the urban areas. So are our cities equipped to hold this number of people? Do we have proper urban infrastructure? Will we be able to provide them good living conditions, proper job opportunities, education to their children? So that also needs to be explored. That that people are migrating, moving from rural to urban areas in search of better living conditions and better opportunities. But when they come to urban areas, you can see how they are living, the slum like conditions they are living for, and sacrificing and exposing them to different types of pollutants, unhealthy conditions. So how then in such circumstances, then how we are going to see that population is a resource? But even though when they have moved to cities, but their condition has not improved, so that is again an indicative of the distribution of the population. So likewise, population distribution is skewed. The rural areas more, population less, and in the urban areas there are urban conglomerates. People living together in a small room. You can see 6, 7 people living, sharing. So that shows that densely populated regions. That also we must think about it. So why population increases? It comes to my mind that why is it all happening? The it increases because birth rate increases, number of children taking birth per thousand. But after 1990s, you can say the birth rate has declined in India. Average children per woman has declined. It was somewhere around 3.4 earlier at the time of independence, but now it is 2.7. And the replacement level fertility, that is also, that ideal is 1.2, but there are certain states which are still below 1.2. That means it has improved. If you see Kerala, Tamil Nadu, the states are having below replacement fertility level. But then also we are saying that we will be the most populous country. Why? Because we have more number of people in that reproductive age group. So even if they have one child, two children, the population will continue to increase. You understand in this way that there is a train which is moving very fast. So even when you have applied the brakes, for some time it continues to run. So that is happening actually with the population of India. Although birth rate has declined, the replacement level fertility has been achieved in most of the states. But then also we will be continuing to have more number of people, and the population will increase because more number of people are there in that. We have youth country. Another factor which is responsible is decrease in death rate, aging population, elderly population, people living more, better facilities, medical facilities, vaccination, nutrition. All this helps to live for a longer time, longer years. We had only 49 years life expectancy at the time of independence, but now it is somewhere between 70. So people average, so people are living more, so therefore the population is more. And immigration, emigration, these are two factors which also increase or decrease the population at any given place. We are a growing economy. People and there's a lot of immigration happening, people coming, residing at any particular place. This is very very clear in terms of rural urban population, where you can see that increase in the population in the urban areas is because of the people who are coming from outside and living there. So this is the density we were talking about. So just look at the figure in 2001. It was more than 300. It was somewhere around 306 and 307 people, 325, yeah, around 2001. And in 2011 it was 382 people per thousand people who are living at any particular place. So the density of the population is increasing. That indicates, because land does not increase or decrease, land remains as such. But then why people are living, that means increase in taking place and residing at a smaller places. So this is actually a comparison of different population growth in different countries like China, India, Nigeria, USA. You can see that is the projected uh, population, and this is the actual population which is taking place. So in most of the countries you can see that population is on the rise. So likewise expansion, as I said, they will be living in cities. So how cities will, how prepared the cities are. Look into urban sustainability, look into the urban sustainable urban development, that how it is possible with the rising population. When we find that people, industries coming up in urban areas, education opportunities coming up in urban areas, people moving, lot of money making is possible in the city. So people coming for good education for the coming generation, all this is happening. So by 2050 the urban population will be around 6.5 billion of the world. Not only it is the case with India, but also it is the case with other countries also across the world. So in that scenario, how you'll see that how the population is going to, and in the urban areas also. And there are, certain other reasons also responsible. For a country like India, there are several factors which are responsible for increase in population. In COVID-19, you will go through the literature. I'll share with you the literature where you'll see that how the instances of increase in the population, baby boom, this COVID babies they are termed as, it has happened because of non-availability of contraceptives, lack of awareness, and also because the females, they are less empowered during this time particularly. So in view of this, it has an effect. It's a very interesting study because we have studied the effect of pandemic and all other things, but there has been a considerable influence of the pandemic on the population trends of given region and selected states of the country. So it's likewise working age population, the people who are working. It also in 2018 India's working age population has grown larger than the dependent population, and dependent population is the child population and the elderly population. So this is also a good sign, and we call it as the demographic dividend. What is dividend? You invest in something and you get it afterwards. That is the meaning of the demographic dividend. So if you have to reap the benefits, because we have more number of people who are in this age bracket, there is quite a possible chances that there will be rapid economic growth when there is such type of period. People who can work more, who can contribute more, they can help you in the economy growth, they are more. We are lucky that we have this type of population in our country, and if we make full use of the population in the coming years, we'll be reaping this demographic dividend. So let us convert it into dividend instead of disaster. Because if we do not scale, if we do not provide education, if we do not provide good healthy conditions to the people, to the children particularly, if you're not addressing their nutritional requirements and all, it will be a disaster. It will be a demographic disaster for our country. Because anyway they are going to survive, they are living, and they will be indulged in the activities which are not so productive. So these things also you have to take into account. And another important aspect, I'm just touching upon this aspect, that is human development. How population is linked with human development. We say population is a human issue, right? It concerns all of us, it is not just numbers. Therefore we don't say population control, there's no control. We want to stabilize population. Okay, so human development is enlarging choices. Why don't we think population, fertility, natality, you can say, or condition of the women, maternal health, child health? Why don't we take these discourses in our discussions? And why don't we consider this, that these are human centric concerns? So every women should be empowered, should be educated, improved living conditions like health, sanitation, proper knowledge, skills. Unless and until we provide all this, we are not moving actually towards human development. This is not development. There are, in your course you will find that population, human development, sustainable development, you will find these terms crisscross. You'll be reading across the course material about all these terms. But let us be very clear in our very first class that how human development differs from sustainable development. Because when I say human development, I specifically talk about an individual's choice, an individual's decisions, participation in the issues which concern the family, the society, the nation at large. So, how do we make use of our capabilities? How well we are able to contribute towards societal development? That is human development. So, healthy population can contribute towards human development. So, there are elements in human development. What will tell me about human development? Who will tell me? What factors will decide? So, your productivity in terms of your, you can say, in terms of your economic activity, whatever job you are doing, whatever livelihoods you are having, how well you are contributing, how productive you are. And equity, chances of equal opportunities to all, irrespective of your region, irrespective of your sex, irrespective of your place of living, irrespective of your age, gender, as I said. So that is equity, rural urban equality of opportunities. And sustainability, are these measures going to be sustainable? In India we have seen that how we have tried to control the population. If you are aware, during 1975 we have seen how forced methods were used to control the population. They're not sustainable. See that the measures which we are adopting today, the demographic profile of every region is different. One carrot stick, it's not possible for every region. And specifically, India is unique. We have different dimensions. We consider humans in different ways. Across the country, you find lot of diversity. So when we have to convince people for healthy population, when we have to educate people, different measures have to be adopted, and they will be sustainable only when we are able to take it, the element of culture, tradition, society, human ecology, important things. They have to be ingrained. So look into the sustainable ways of human development and empowerment. Every individual must be empowered so that he or she can take active participation in their decisions. Decisions related to childbirth, decisions related to spacing between children, decisions related to whether to have or not to have child. So this is empowerment. Particularly I'm talking about the population related issues, and otherwise also empowerment is necessary, whether you want to work, where you want to work, all aspects are related in this. So when we see that we are addressing these issues of productivity, equity, sustainability, empowerment, when we are able to address these issues, then we can bring in the human development and can address the concerns of population which are raised by the rise in population taking place. So with this I just end over here. It's an introductory class. Let us discuss more, and in our coming classes we'll be talking about all these individual aspects at a greater level. We'll be talking in detail about these topics. So I end my presentation here. If we have anything to discuss, now we can discuss. Any comments?
Hello, ma'am.
हाँ सुयश जी.
Oh, today's lecture was excellent. I have just one doubt. Uh, in lecture, you have mentioned that few states have surpassed the replacement level fertility level rate. I didn't understand that concept.
uh, Replacement level is a level at which one generation totally replaces the other generation. You understand? Replacement level fertility, where one generation goes and another generation comes, exactly replacing. So, ideal it is 1.2. That means, in a simple, normal terms, we can explain that means less number of children born per average women. So there are states like Kerala, Tamil Nadu, some northeastern states also, where the fertility level is below replacement level. That means more less number of children born. So that is an ideal condition. Not so ideal because नहीं तो फिर आगे आने वाले समय में it will be an aging population issue. Ideally is 1.2 is the ideal. So, but there are certain states where it is somewhere around 2 point something. So, that indicates what? That indicates that very high rate of population. You can simply explain, suppose one and two individuals are there, suppose one is going in, second is replacing the first one. So, that is the ideal condition, and that is the meaning of replacement level fertility. Fertility आप समझते हो? Fertility मतलब the average number of children born per thousand individuals. Okay, so fertility or natality, if it is at the balanced stage, ideal stage, that means one generation is going, dying out, another generation is taking its place. Lekin ideally, it doesn't happen for any country, any region. Ideally, it does not happen. There will be always some less number of children born, more number of children born. These type of situations will go on. Okay, but what has been specified according to demographers is 1.2. But states like UP, Bihar, they have high replacement level fertility. They have about 2 also. I think it is understood. You read about it. When you read about it, it will be more clear, and then we will sort out what is lacking. Anybody else? Students, please come up for discussion. I hope you all are here. Ashokji, I could see you noting down something or the other. You are mute.
I noted down most of your points, and in fact, yesterday I downloaded from eGyan Kosh the material. It was excellent to have it, but physical copy is not digital. And,
Physical, it will come. You will get it.
material dispatch section has also not in fact up.
No, no, you will get it. No need to worry. But the course is from 2016.